Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. You know, I feel like right off the bat, people are going to look at the title of this video and be like, beyond Omega level, the Human Torch, that's ridiculous, right? Like there's no way this guy is an Omega level or beyond Omega level threat. As we always do with this, we're gonna go into like the history of the character, then we're gonna go and cover his powers and the crazy things that he does. So the Human Torch, aka Johnny Storm, was of course created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and made his first appearance in Fantastic Four #1 in 1961. However, Johnny Storm was not the first Marvel character to be called the Human Torch, and in fact was really just a reinvention of a Golden Age character appearing in Marvel Comics #1 back in 1939. Now, unlike the original Human Torch Jim Hammond, Johnny Storm was not an android, but instead was simply a kid from a suburb in Long Island. Now, his mother died in a car accident when he was young, and he lived with his father, renowned surgeon Franklin Storm, until he becomes an alcoholic that squanders all the family's money and eventually goes to jail for killing a loan shark after the loan shark accidentally shot himself during an altercation with Franklin. It's kind of crazy. Now, with his father in prison, Johnny depended on his older sister Susan, who would later become the Invisible Woman, to essentially take care of him. Now, at age 16, Johnny's life changes when he and his sister agree to join scientists Reed Richards and pilot Ben Grimm on an experimental mission to space. Now, when their ship is exposed to cosmic rays, everybody on the ship gains a different superpower, and shortly thereafter began operating as a superhero team known as the Fantastic Four. Because Johnny's powers allow him to burst into flame and fly, he adopts the name the Human Torch. Now, as I mentioned, the Human Torch is able to assume a fiery form where he is completely engulfed in flames, and when he's in this form, he's able to fly. In addition to this, his body is invulnerable to heat and fire, which comes in handy when your superpower is bursting into flames. It's kind of necessary. But furthermore, the Human Torch possesses pyrokinesis, which allows him to create powerful blasts of heat energy capable of causing incredible amounts of damage. And in Johnny's earliest appearances, he did not have much damage resistance, as practically any time he got hit, he has to power down into his human form. However, over the years, Human Torch has been depicted as increasingly powerful, especially in terms of durability and his flame form. Now, while Human Torch is not typically a character that we think of when discussing the most powerful Marvel characters, he's actually a pretty under-the-radar powerhouse that's too often overlooked. Now, as we'll see when we take a look at some of the things that the Human Torch has done, it'll become clear that he's definitely a planetary level threat, placing him well in the Omega level or beyond range. Now, starting with his durability, we've seen some incredible feats of resistancy to damage. For example, the Human Torch has absorbed blows from characters such as Annihilus, Dragon Man, Namor the Submariner, and Gladiator with the greatest of ease, and was relatively unharmed by Terrax, a herald of Galactus, in possession of the power Cosmic. He also has sustained energy blasts from several high-ranking characters without any ill effects, including Nova serving as the herald of Galactus, and Oculus, whose blasts were potent enough to reduce mountains to rubble. Now, the Human Torch himself has said that the heat shield he's able to generate is strong enough to withstand anything short of an atomic blast. However, on a separate occasion, he was actually shown to absorb the energy of an atomic blast, so I think it's safe to say he could survive a nuclear bomb. However, what Johnny Storm seems to have in terms of just being meh with regards to his defensive abilities, his offensive abilities are nuts. Human Torch's primary power is his pyrokinesis, which can reach insanely high temperatures. In fact, the fire the torch produces can reach Nova-like temperatures, which has allowed him to do things like destroy a city-sized android. His Nova flame is also said to be equal in energy to a nuclear blast, so we know that he's able to eliminate all life in a pretty wide radius, if he decided to. Now, at one point, the torch goes Nova and wipes out a good chunk of the Annihilation Wave, which is a threat that was sufficient enough to call together most of Marvel's cosmic-based superheroes to take out. So the fact that Johnny is able to take out several of them in one attack is pretty impressive. In another instance, Johnny's able to engulf a planet-sized celestial object in flame, which makes him a definite planetary threat, since having an entire planet be, like, completely on fire would likely destroy all life on that planet. However, the Torch's Nova Blasts aren't the only way that he can pose a planetary threat. One of his abilities is the ability to draw moisture out of others, which he's used in his fight with the She-Hulk. Now, we don't know how large of a scale he can perform this ability on, right? We don't really know if it's like planetary level or like a city-size level or something like that. But if he is able to do it with any real measure of range, he can either use it to draw the moisture out of everyone within range, or perhaps absorb large quantities of the water in the world's oceans, which could do such damage to the Earth's climate that life is no longer sustainable. Similarly, Similarly, the Human Torch is able to absorb heat and theoretically could absorb enough heat to significantly lower the temperature of the planet to the point that nothing could survive. Similarly, we've seen the torch burn all the oxygen atoms from an entire city created by the High Evolutionary. Now, this could be problematic since people, of course, need oxygen to live. So if it can do this on a planetary scale, everybody on Earth would essentially suffocate. And so there are a few different ways the Human Torch could probably destroy all life on the planet itself. Now, I say probably because we haven't actually seen him do these things on a large enough of a scale to really say for sure. But part of the fun of these videos is kind of playing around with different ideas and extrapolating things that could basically never happen, but would be kind of cool to see. But anyway, we have seen him set an entire planet-sized object on fire. So even just going by that on what we saw with the panels of various other feats, the Human Torch represents a planetary threat. So he is definitely at or a beyond Omega level threat. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comments Explain, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later. Peace.